Hi guys, and welcome back to Leslie Through the Looking Glass. For those of you that are new here, hi, my name is Leslie. For returning viewers, as always, thank you so much for coming back and continuing to support my channel. It really means so much. All right, you guys, happy Mental Health Monday. Um, I hope everybody is doing well. I am doing okay. I had a weird bout with anxiety yesterday. We had a really busy weekend, so I don't know if it was just like the buildup of a busy weekend. Um, our niece graduated high school this year, so her open house was this weekend, and we had a soccer game, and then me and my mom had um, a night out yesterday. So I don't know what happened, but getting ready to go out tomorrow for yesterday for our show, I like started panicking. And there was all the like, I don't know. I was fine once we got on the road and I picked my mom up and then everything was fine. We had so much fun, but it was a weird, like borderline panic attack feeling out of nowhere. And I had a lot of like thought processes as to what could be causing it, but nothing really stood out. So I don't know if it was just all of those thoughts or just like the busy weekend, but that was a little frustrating because I couldn't figure out what was happening. So I couldn't do my steps. Like I couldn't work my facts and do the things that helped me the most. It was just kind of working through the feelings and knowing that even though that anxious feeling was there, it didn't mean anything was wrong. But other than that, it's anxiety wise been a fairly quiet week for me. I have sorry guys, I completely lost track of thought and what I was gonna say. I don't know. Um, I've just been pretty busy. Life is busy, right? We all we always just run out of time for everything, I feel like. But I've just been working on balancing travel planning and work with family life and social media and filming content and stuff. It's very cool. I've recently, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been very grateful to have a lot of really cool opportunities. But I work really hard for them, and I have always contacted the brands and the companies and worked my way into the mix. So it was really cool this past week that I've had, well, the past few weeks, I've now had two different brands reach out for potential collaborations and stuff. And that's just really exciting to me. Um, because I've always, it kind of feels like all of this hard work and hustling I've done has started paying off, but then it's also nerve wracking because then it's much different. I just feel like there's a different set of expectations when a brand reaches out to you. Um, but yeah, so that's exciting, but also leading to a little bit of anxiousness in my gut this week as well. But it's a lot easier to manage that anxiety when it's exciting things, right? Like when you're have anxious energy. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you can tell, I've still been fighting off these allergy sicknesses, whatever it is going on. I'm super stuffy and my throat is super itchy. Um, but yeah, I also had a slight panic attack last night after getting home from our event. Me and my mom had gone out to South Bend. It was a really cool show. We saw they did a film screening of The Princess Bride at a theater, and then the actor who played Wesley came out and did like little panel talk and behind the scenes of what it was like to film. It was really neat. But I got home, I dropped my mom off, and got to my house. And when I got out, it smelled like natural gas really bad and sulfur, like very strong. And I was like, what is going on? And it was, I, at the time, I thought it was inside my garage. So I was afraid it was my house. And came in the house, and the house smelled fine. So I was very confused. And come to find out, it was probably from one of the steel mills by our house. Um, and all of the area was calling the police and non-emergency numbers because it was everywhere. So it was really kind of scary, but it made me feel a lot better that it wasn't my house. But um, when you have an anxious mind, things that are like that really like tend to get the big reaction. So it was really scary. Um, and it was just funny because my mom and I had talked a little bit about it on our way home and just like how my brain works with um, like worst case scenarios and planning for like emergency situations all the time. And I never until I started therapy and I was speaking on it more openly, a lot of the things I thought had been normal and what everybody did were not. Um, and so, I like mentioned something. I forget how the conversation started with my mom, but I mentioned something about like my anxious brain and like how it goes to these crazy worst case scenarios. And she's like, well, it's always good to like have a plan, right? And I was like, yeah, but that's not how this works. Like, yes, it's good to have a plan, but like when you sit there and think, okay, so this is going to happen, so then this happens, and you like live in this space where you're just constantly coming up with plans and living on that edge of not, oh, this could happen, but it could not. And you're like, this is going to happen and this is what you're going to do. Um, so it was just really interesting to talk to my mom and kind of share that experience with her. I've always been very open with my anxiety regarding Amelia and, stuff like that. But you don't always have like the more in-depth conversations or talk about like things from the past that, you didn't realize were contributing factors or signs of what you're struggling with now. So it was just really interesting to have that conversation and really nice to kind of just have that conversation with my mom and kind of, give her a little insight and whatnot. And I think that's good. And it just goes to show like those conversations are going to happen all the time if you talk about it to different people and stuff like that. And I thought my mom from conversations her and I had before, I didn't realize that she still didn't know like how much there was to it with my anxiety, because she used to also have certain anxiety things, but hers was very minor. But she can relate to a lot. But having those conversations, it was just really nice, and didn't feel judged or anything like that. Or like, because the other thing I always feel like people kind of give you like the pity vibes, and I don't like that either. So this was just like a really like neutral conversation, and it was like one of those things. Usually I get like anxious talking about it, and it wasn't. It was just really nice conversation. So just don't always, like, it's hard to open up when it comes to anxiety, and even like this is so much easier because I know people are watching when I create these videos, but I'm just talking to a screen. There's nobody there for me to like see and make eye contact with and all of that. So it's a lot different than having those conversations with somebody in person, somebody in your group, your bubble. But it can also be really nice to have those conversations. So I do encourage people, this whole channel is developed on sharing, those things anyways and normalizing conversation, but the conversations don't always come up. You can't necessarily force them, because then that makes people uncomfortable because you're forcing them into a conversation. But when the conversations do arise, you'll often be really surprised by the feedback or the support you might get. And while it's hard to do initially, it really does become easier and like a more comfortable thing. And I just want to encourage you guys to do that if the opportunity arises. Anyways, that's all I really have this week, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. I would love to know down below if you have these conversations often with people who know you or your family and friends, and like if you feel that way. Because I have them a lot with my husband, but outside of that, it's not necessarily the same kind of conversation. So to kind of do that with my mom was nice. So let me know if you feel like you also get good supportive feedback, even if it's not like fully understanding or like, oh yeah, me too, that you just feel heard and have that space. Because I think that's really important and gives us that sense of normalcy and that it's okay. Anyways, guys, have a great week. I will see you soon. Bye.